The road to Libya's revolution has been long and dangerous. Its purpose clear.
We have one enemy and one aim: to remove Gaddafi and achieve freedom for the Libyan people.
Across Libya, people have been tasting freedom for the first time in 42 years. Libya's exiles have been returning to join the fight for their country. Each has a story to tell.
We do what we didn't do 30 years ago.
The exile businessman and his son, who shared a dream of going home and travelled thousands of miles to bring help. The property developer from London, who led his men into battle. The two best friends, civilians who became soldiers.
I was screaming my soul out.
And the neighbours, who took up arms and discovered the cost of freedom.
Freedom is the most expensive thing. Its price is blood.
Together, this makeshift army of unlikely revolutionaries will take on the might of one of the world's most brutal dictatorships and bring it down.
There's a big fighting now next to the club.
You just heard bullets everywhere. That was like raining with bullets.
There are still battles to come to take back their country. First, they must capture Gaddafi's power base and liberate the capital, Tripoli. The JABAL NAFUSA, Libya's western mountains. It's June. The Arab Spring has turned to summer, but the revolution has stalled. After 4 months of fighting, Libya's revolutionaries have made significant gains, taking towns all along this plateau that rises up between the Sahara and Libya's coastal plain. With the establishment here of a new front line, local men are now guarding the towns and villages that follow the rise and fall of the NAFUSA mountains. Gaddafi's forces still linger in the desert to the south, menacing the population with Russian-made Grad missiles, tanks, and heavy weaponry.
ضربونا بالجراد تحت الكهف هذا من لوطة. كتاب القذافي كانوا مدرسين جيت المنطقة بتاع الجوش.
This is free Libya, and there's a different feeling to the place. There's a difference in the people here. They feel proud of their country. They feel they've achieved something, and they are for the first time looking forward to a better future.
Ibrahim Al-Mayat and his businessman father Abdulrahim have come from London with a group of rebel fighters they're helping to fund.
A couple of these guys gave up perfectly comfortable lives to join this fight for their country. Shoaib had his business there. He's married, he's got children. Brahim's the same, he's got his wife and 2 young children, another one on the way. For them, there's no choice. They'll do it, and they'll keep doing it until it's over.
It lives there, huh?
Abdul Malik Isa has come from Colorado in the United States to join Abdul Bassett's group.
I own a couple of small businesses. I own a little grocery store and a little coffee shop. They're left behind. They're casualties of this as much as anybody else. My wife, she stayed behind to take care of business and the kids, so whatever happens, happens. I'm only a tool God uses to feed them and take care of them. He does that. So I'm not worried at all. And I think I taught them that they don't have to depend on me, so.
Thousands of other fighters are massing in the JABAL NAFUSA, waiting for the final push. To reach the capital, the revolutionaries have first to secure the strategic towns of Kikla and Gerian that lie along the main road that leads to Tripoli. NATO has been carrying out bombing raids to make that journey easier.
Look, young people, look, very young people.
Yes. Salam alaikum. Hayallah shabab. Habtain.
Look this one, look this one,
Yeah,
look this one.
this is hit by NATO.
My goodness, this is completely destroyed, isn't it? It's actually black. Can you imagine the soldiers inside this? It's actually melted too. There is no way to escape at all. So it's a fantastic hit, and that's it. This tank, if the NATO did not hit it, it will kill and kill and kill again.
In this part of newly liberated Libya, the airwaves have also been freed from Gaddafi's grip. Radio NAFUSA, which ABDURRAHIM has helped to fund, is rebroadcasting an independent Benghazi station.
لدينا برنامج همسات إيمانية.
They hope to be heard in Tripoli to let people know that freedom is on its way. But today, Gaddafi's people are jamming it.
Because Gaddafi he's taking the same frequency, yes.
And they took over our
radio station. I heard that yesterday. He's taking over when it's in the news time, yes? Yeah. Here's the news. When he lies to the people, NATO did this and did that. Salam alaikum. قدام بارك الله فيك. برا قدام في الظل غادي. مرحبا كيف حوالك؟ وين الغيب ها؟
As they look round the radio station, they hear that the front line at Kikla, 80 kilometers away, is coming under attack.
There's a big fighting now next to the Kikla. We have to go there now.
The guys immediately moved. It was a mad scramble to get moving. Shoaib just jumped straight in his car, and those guys went forward immediately to where the battle was happening.
The fighters have been under fire for several hours. Gaddafi's forces are using Grad missiles and tanks against the opposition, who are armed only with rifles and weapons they've been able to capture.
Gaddafi's forces had actually moved forward into Kikla that morning and had been pushed back, and the battle was about 2 kilometers behind the line at that point. Our side had captured a number of vehicles with heavy weaponry, and we're doing quite well.
In the rush to move forward, the men have split up. Ibrahim Megarisi and Abdul Malik are already joining forces with other groups at the front line. Abdul Basit and Abdurrahim have gone off to find new supplies of ammunition.
When we first arrived, it didn't feel like we were in the front line or anything, or we didn't feel like it was as if it was a battlefield. It still didn't click it was a battlefield. I didn't realise that that's what it would be like.
Abdul Malik's group are amongst the first to try to flush out some of the snipers from Gaddafi's advance.
Early in the morning we got here, we got into groups. I think my group was about 15, 16 people. We took our positions and then we split because we couldn't get to the shooter. I was people that split.
Shoaib is also preparing to hunt down snipers and has agreed to have one of our small cameras attached to his chest.
ما عندهاش مخزن كبير. ما عندهاش. يا ربيع أعطيني مخزن الكبير.
Ibrahim's going with him. It's his first taste of real battle.
was a couple of young guys who was shooting with the gun, and they were getting fired at. So I helped them pack the bullets.
Like so many others that morning, Ibrahim's group comes under fire.
And you just heard bullets everywhere. It was like raining with bullets. It's just a funny thing. There's a sense of tranquility. There's a sense of tranquility. It's difficult to describe.
Out in the countryside with little cover, Shwaib and the men run from house to house. A few kilometers away, Abdul Malik has been pinned down.
We got ambushed. So we shot all the ammunition we had. One guy advanced and we started retreating, trying to not get shot by the snipers or by the army guys.
The man who'd advanced had been shot and taken by Gaddafi's forces.
We saw them come to our guy, and he was moaning. He was in pain.
A few hours later, Abdul Malik and 4 other fighters went back to rescue him.
I had to drive the car in a little deeper because they couldn't carry him anymore. He was dead already. And he happens to be a relative of mine.
After 6 hours, still under fire, many of the fighters are running out of ammunition.
I heard one of the guys say, "You don't use it. We don't have any bullets. We don't have any ammunition."
Meanwhile, Abdul Basit and the Almayats are on their way to a nearby town to see if they can buy some more ammunition for their men.
Just now we need ammunitions.
Supplies of arms have been getting in by plane, using the main road as a makeshift airstrip. Abdul Basit is waiting for another delivery.
There's one coming today, and there's a special box for us, for my camp.
Until that arrives, they'll see what they can buy on the street for cash. Gaddafi arms and ammunition have been making their way onto the open market. Their mission accomplished, they set off for the front line. But the road leading to Kikla has been cut off by Gaddafi's forces.
So we all had to take cover and lay low at that checkpoint. While we were there, we were really stuck between the two positions. Missiles going overhead, there was a lot of gunfire. We didn't really know what was going on, whether it would be safe to proceed. We had to make the decision to move one way or another, and we decided to keep going forward. There's a pretty tense drive for the next few kilometers as we were completely out in the open, totally exposed.
Any one of these buildings could be hiding a sniper. When they finally reach the front line with the ammunition, Abdul Basit is still faced with hard choices.
At one point, even the decision was made by Abdul Basit not to send all of his men in. He said, look, everyone who's got one clip, give your clip to another guy, let them go in with more ammunition, so less guys, more ammunition.
In the event, the assault by Gaddafi ground forces will continue for 2 days. But the opposition holds on to the front line. Abdul Basit's fighters advance, trying to clear Gaddafi's soldiers house by house. It's clear some of them have left in a hurry.
In the morning, we cleared, so like a couple of areas, were cleared, and we kept pushing forward, and there was an empty house, and we got to the point where we were at the house, and it was a bit quiet. Just as we got there, they started firing. Those bullets, you hear them, they fire from miles away. You just fing, fing. That's the exact sound that comes out. So they said they were going to run, and I thought, I don't know how they're going to do this. So I went round the wall just to have a peek. And I had a scope to see, and I was looking with the scope, and a bullet landed right in front of me. Anyway, they said when the firing stops, you run. It was no way that you could make it, like, yeah, it was no way. And the firing stopped. So I ran. And I was waiting for the firing to start and stop again, but the firing didn't start. It must have jammed. Like, all of us got out of there before the firing started again. And then we just ran until we eventually got back to cover. I looked round, and amazingly, everyone was well. Nobody was injured.
How many were killed from your side?
4.
That's bad. That's a lot of people.
4, and there's 5 of them in the hospitals. They're still alive. I'm going back, yeah. I'm going back. People waiting there. Yeah.
At a school that's been used as a field hospital, one of the ambulances Ibrahim bought from England 2 weeks ago is in use. It's transferring a young boy who's been injured in the crossfire to the nearest hospital.
The ambulance was doing amazing work. The driver and the medic that were on board had taken about 7 trips from the front line down to the field hospital. It's just really good to see the ambulance actually, getting it done, doing what it came here for, doing it well.
Next day, Shwaib arrives back at the safe house in Erhebat with news of the battle.
لكن ربك الحمد لله وعبد الباسط في جنب ودنا تقول فين مين والله العظيم سنايبر هلبة عندهم سنايبر هم المفروض ضرب تعرف في الراديو نسمع فيهم في الراديو متاعهم يقول لك قيم هذاك طاح هذاك تعرف درنا فيهم حال.
It's unbelievable. It was just a bunch of guys, and they managed to push back a whole army, and it was literally a bunch of guys.
If this war could be won just on the bravery and determination and heart of the fighters that are at the front, then Gaddafi would be history already.
But the battle for Kikla would continue on and off for a month.
Gaddafi is able to push back with his superior firepower and his just desire to destroy us. He keeps pushing back. His target now is to take back JABAL NAFUSA. He wants it, doesn't want to leave anyone alive.
Abdul Basit's fighters have no choice but to pull back for the time being, while Ibrahim and his father return to Tunisia to organise and resupply.
We're going to fall back, we're going to move out, and we're going to see what we can do from outside.
A month later, in the Tunisian holiday resort of JERBA, members of the Tripoli opposition are meeting at their secret headquarters. Though they don't yet know it, some of them will eventually form the new interim government. They include ABDURRAHIM al-Kib, who will be appointed Prime Minister 3 months later in November. Behind the scenes, the project to finish Gaddafi is moving ahead swiftly. Inside Libya, more and more fighters are preparing for the final push. RABIR, DEHAN and Abdulrauf Guela, the two best friends who left home in May, have been recruited by the Tripoli Brigade. Although RABIR has never before seen action, he's now training other recruits.
The Tripoli Brigade have spent the last few months in Nalut, in the mountains. They've been going through a rigorous training program there with the sole intention of taking part in the battle to liberate Tripoli. They're fully equipped and ready for battle.
Back in JERBA, the opposition have come to a small restaurant to share iftar, the traditional way of breaking the Ramadan fast.
So these are very exciting days for us. And those freedom fighters have been making us so proud of being Libyans and being members of this great country of ours. I tell you, it's a fantastic feeling, you know.
Tonight is the start of Operation Ground Zero, NATO's coordinated airstrikes aimed at destroying Gaddafi's remaining command and control centres in Tripoli.
They will be hitting the nerve system, basically, of Gaddafi's regime. So basically there will be no communications.
This will be the beginning of the final battle for the city. As evening falls on the 20th of August, NATO's jets are on their way towards Tripoli. It's August the 20th. NATO's bombers are in the air over Libya. And members of the opposition have gathered in JERBA in Tunisia to prepare for the fall of Tripoli. It's Ramadan, and they're sharing iftar at the end of a day of fasting.
As we heard a few minutes ago, the Ground Zero started.
Suddenly, the men's mobile phones all start to ring at once. Tripoli's long-awaited intifada has begun.
It's a live call from Tripoli now.
Now on, it's in the green square. What used to be a green square, it's Martyrs Square now. The flag, our liberation flag, yes, is done there now. It's
Well, they're saying that the flag is flying in green square, and that's it. That's the end, right?
What is it? What you call
Game is almost over.
So we are wishing, alhamdulillah.
The uprising wasn't planned to begin until the fighters from across Libya had reached the outskirts of the city. But that evening, worshippers at a mosque in the heart of Tripoli had begun to chant anti-Gaddafi slogans.
Inside the mosque, from the mosque, they started, shouting slogans against the regime and starting takbir. security cars. Immediately they started firing at people in the mosque using heavy guns, the type you use against aircrafts.
Armed revolutionaries came out to support those inside the mosque, and together they beat back Gaddafi's forces. It was the tipping point for the city and marked the start of the battle to free Tripoli.
Tripoli after. We drive to Tripoli now. All the way now.
So do you think you'll be packing up or getting in the car?
I'm ready. I can go like this, I don't need to pack up here. Exactly. I tell you, we have never thought that it could happen in this manner, It is a dream coming true.
Next day at the Rixos Hotel in Tripoli, Gaddafi's spokesman Moussa Ibrahim is claiming that it isn't all over.
Tripoli is well protected, and we have thousands upon thousands of professional soldiers who are ready to defend this city against any possible invasion by these rebels under the cover of NATO.
As the uprising continues inside Tripoli, revolutionary forces are fighting their way towards the city from all directions. Hundreds from Benghazi, Misrata, and the mountains are closing in.
The minute the hour zero was off and they said, okay, Tripoli started now, revolution in Tripoli, and it's our time to move. You wouldn't believe it, we just had car after car after car full of weapons and clothes and stuff, and everybody got their weapons and their ammunitions. We had crazy numbers of ammunition, and the whole group started to go down, truck by truck by truck by truck.
The first thing I did, I held my phone and I tried calling my parents. Dad, it's me. And we're on the airport road. Just pray for us, and hanged up.
The ground battle for Tripoli was underway. The two friends, ABDURRAHIM and RABIR, have taken up position high above the city, on lookout duty to guide and support the men on the ground.
We went up, we were like watching the city from a higher point.
And I had the radio, and I had the RPG with the telescope.
And God, I kept saying that how beautiful is Tripoli.
Every time I take my head up, I would hear the sniper bullets go above my head.
I mean, I was crying that up in the tower, and Rio slapped me actually at the head. And he told me, stop crying like a baby. And they start firing at us.
I was calling my battalion, please bring me a helmet. I need a helmet because I can't take my head up.
And they were like shooting so much. I was screaming my soul out, not just my voice, and I couldn't hear myself because of that noise of the bullets hitting the building. And that moment, I was really talking to God, and I was like telling him, this is not the time for it. I just reached here. I already promised my mom, so please, not now, please, not now.
The revolutionaries, the Tuar, are storming the gates of Gaddafi's hated headquarters, the Bab al-Azizia compound, the seat of his power.
We've learned something during these 3 months, that a bullet that does not have your name is not going to hit you. It's God's will to survive.
Two days later, Gaddafi is on the run. Ibrahim and Abdulrahim are heading towards an uneasy Tripoli. They're nearly home.
Yeah, we're very close to Tripoli now, I think, about 40 kilometers. Zawiya is is the scene of a lot of the early fighting. It was very, very, very bad here. Look at that. Entire building has come down. There was a lot of people killed in the fight for Zawiya, and an incredible amount of damage done.
As they drive into newly liberated Tripoli, there's still smoke and gunfire coming from the Bab al-Azizia compound.
It's completely surreal and yet normal at the same time. It's a really weird feeling to be here.
Freedom!
An escort of fighters takes them into the heart of the city where the uprising began.
It's not over yet, it's not secure yet. Gaddafi is still at large and his supporters are still causing havoc, they're still attacking.
These are some of the fighters who took part in the original uprising in the Ben Nabi Mosque, here on Sarim Street.
Freedom forever, 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 yeah, we are freedom in Tripoli forever. No Gaddafi here. No Gaddafi. No Gaddafi more.
Abdulrahim and Ibrahim will stay with them in a safe house.
Today is the best day in our lives. Today is the best day because we get back our freedom, our rights. I don't know how to say it, but the only thing that I know now, I trust my people now. They are lions, they are not boys. They are lions, really, really, really.
The streets in Mansour, so close to the compound, are still tense. There's a fear of reprisal attacks by Gaddafi's snipers.
He shot everything. He shot everything. Mosque, bank, stores, building, houses, everything, everything. He's crazy.
Evidence for what they did.
This has been the Tuar's base for the last few days.
Most of the people, freedom fighters, came together and went into Bab al-Azizia. I mean, 4 hours. Bab al-Azizia was in the hands of the Tuar, and it was very, very good feeling then.
والحمد لله طبعا بعد لا كانوا ملتحمين معنا جماعة المنصورة والتحموا معنا هلبة يعني هلبة شباب من مناطق تانية وطبعا لغاية ما دخلوا توار الجبل الغربي وتوار جايين من المنطقة الشرقية اللي هم المنصورات وطعنانة.
Next morning, Hakim and his comrades are on patrol in the streets around their neighborhood.
They've got a wonderful community spirit, people taking care of each other. They're patrolling the streets, they're organized, they're looking after their neighborhoods, looking after families.
The people of Tripoli are taking back their city, house by house, street by street.
Despite what people here have been through, they're in incredibly high spirits. They're just full of joy. The Gaddafi era is finished.
Ibrahim and Abdulrahim are at the mosque where the uprising began on the 20th of August. The mosque's spiritual leader, Sheikh Abdul Marwan, was there that night.
It wasn't actually, nothing was planned to come out on the 20th of August, but there were kidnappings by Gaddafi's militias. They come in the middle of the night, knock on people's doors. They just have to be the 20th because of the amount of pressure that was being put on them by the Gaddafi militias.
For months, the revolutionaries had been smuggling arms into the mosque complex. Sheikh Abdul Marwan reveals that during that time, a frequent visitor was Gaddafi's son, Saadi.
Gaddafi thought that this was a safe area for him because it's very, very close to Bab al-Aziziyah. They're basically neighbors, so he thought nothing could happen here for him.
Saadi wasn't looking for spiritual advice. He wanted the sheikh to denounce the revolution.
If you could use the sheikh and get him to say that to come out in protest is religiously forbidden, then people would heed that call and say, all right, we can't do this because it's not allowed in Islam.
Instead of giving comfort to the Gaddafis, the sheikh and the other members of the opposition continued to prepare for the uprising.
Mrs. Saadi used to come over and sort of lie down and sort of lean on something and it would have weapons inside it, and they never knew.
In the mosque?
In the mosque, yes.
There's a sense of history as Abdulrahim and Ibrahim arrive at Gaddafi's presidential compound, the Bab al-Aziziyah.
Well, see, this belongs to the Libyan people, doesn't it? This isn't Gaddafi's anymore. There it is. There's his house.
That's, it's amazing, isn't it? It's incredible, huh? I can't believe that, really. Yeah, this is incredible. This is his bedroom.
Look at the size of this thing. That's not a king size, that's emperor size.
He has a few guest houses here for his family and very close friends.
All over the compound, families are out hunting for souvenirs of the past.
Prison Break, Season 2. He's been getting some tips on how to stay on the run.
Later, Abdulrahim and Ibrahim revisit a chapter from their own history.
Looks like.
They're finally on their way to the family home they'd been forced to abandon.
It's the big house. You see that house?
Yeah.
This is our house.
On the left.
The house is right next door to the compound, and it was built in the 50s, before Gaddafi.
Look, what will look at it? Look, shut a lot. Look what happened to the house. Look,
Bloody
my
hell.
goodness.
There were reports that Gaddafi had taken refuge here as he fled.
Maybe you'll find.
My goodness, look what happened to the house. My God.
Bloody hell.
My God. This is supposed to be nice.
Somebody must have been held up in here. Look, there's been a lot of fighting.
A lot of fighting here.
My mother was here before she died. She lived here with us, and she loved it. She loved Libya, and she loved this house.
There's a sitting room there with a television. Oh, look, the fish things is here. It's still here. This is where we kept the fish.
A bullet gone right through it.
Yeah, look, this is what we kept the food. The fish is still here. This is mine.
This is the house Abdullah grew up in.
I used to come like this. Sit up there and go. when I was small, you know.
It's really awful to see the place in this state. You know, I have a lot of memories here, and it's horrible to see it like this. That was my bedroom there.
And that one's Ibrahim's room. This is all his. Even after the wall, it's ours. He took 1 hectare from us. This is 4 hectares. This is our land, and we still own the land.
See, that's how close we were to his compound.
Let's
see right inside.
With bazooka, we can get him, you know. Everybody, I mean, all my family loved this place. I saw many beautiful days here. I will put it back as it was. I will.
Fighters from all over Libya, including the Misrata Brigade, are on their way to the newly renamed Martyrs Square. Tripoli is celebrating, but Abdul Rauf and Rabir are still on alert. With Gaddafi and his family at large, there's a real fear of reprisals. Their main job tonight is to stop the celebratory fire getting out of hand.
Asking them not to fire any calibers in the air because we want to protect the people, we want them to feel safe. Allahu Akbar.
We need the square to be as safe as possible. So you have just to ask him nicely, like, stop shooting. There's family, there's kids, they get afraid. I'm really happy to see all these people right now.
Ibrahim is in the square too.
This is incredible. It's amazing to be here in the square, in Martyrs Square. For months and months, we were watching Gaddafi and his group of followers celebrating every day in this square. And now we're celebrating in the square. We've got Tripoli, and it's incredible.
Every time we get closer to Tripoli, I feel like that my time is coming. I'm never gonna see Tripoli again. I can't believe it, actually. Thank God.
I'm really happy I'm really happy I'm alive, but still I'm really happy I did this. I can only feel the victory now that the people are outside, the women, the families, and they're feeling safe and they're feeling fine. It really makes me just feel incredible.
This is the revolution that is gonna be written in history books. They're gonna talk about it for years.
We'll never have another Gaddafi. They may catch him tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. They may never catch him. But whatever happens to Gaddafi, Libya is free.
It's the morning of Eid al-Fitr, the end of Ramadan. Families are remembering those who didn't come home and welcoming back those like RABIR and his brother Sultan, who did. It will be another 2 months until Gaddafi is captured and killed, and 3 before his son Saif al-Islam is caught.
3 months felt like 3 years, really, they did. But however, now that they're finished, I've been in the war. It doesn't feel truthful.
You seem Braveheart. Fight and you may die, and run and you might live. But would you be willing to give all those days, from this day to that, just for one chance to tell your enemy, you can take our lives and you can take our children, you can attack us, but you'll never be able to take our freedom.
I'm alive, I'm here, and Tripoli is liberated. And I had something to do with the liberation of Tripoli. I'm so proud of myself, actually. It puts like a very big smile on my face.
My life has changed dramatically. Yeah, it's completely changed. I never thought that I would see these days and these events unfolding, and it's quite a journey. There's a long way to go yet.
This morning, after 42 long years, Libya has finally awoken from its nightmare to begin a new day.